Hello everybody. Welcome to the Biology Department at Case Western Reserve University. My name is Mark Willis. I'm currently chair of the department and I study the neural basis of flight behavior and olfactory behavior in insects. And with me is my colleague,
Dr. Rich Druschel. I'm instructor and executive officer in the Department of Biology. Instructor means I teach a variety of courses like human anatomy, human physiology, and comparative anatomy. Executive officer means I have a number of administrative duties under the chair.
Today Rich and I are going to go over an introduction of the biological sciences at Case Western Reserve University. This includes biology, systems biology, biochemistry, and nutrition. Rich will give you details on the first year courses that you will take when you arrive here. I'll give you an overview of the research opportunities available to undergraduates, and at the end we'll go over some frequently asked questions associated with the beginning of your major. So programs in the biological sciences here at CWRU are the ones that Rich and I are most involved with. They're the biology major. We have both a Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Sciences. Systems biology is a more explicitly quantitative approach to biology, which is offered as BS only. You can get an undergraduate degree in biochemistry at either a BA and BS, and there are a couple of majors available in the nutrition department, both BA and BS in human nutrition and nutritional biochemistry and metabolism. And the departments of biochem and nutrition are both in the medical school, which is actually just an easy walk across the street from the biology department. So your interest in the biology department is a good one, especially if you're interested in sort of the healthcare professionals, pre-medical, pre-dental, pre-vet. This is basically applied biology, so being a biology major is perfect preparation for this. Pre-law, of course, is very important if you're going to be doing any law associated with biological sciences. The courses that you will take in preparation are pretty rigorous. A lot of them are explicitly quantitative, and they're excellent preparation for your upper division work and or professional schools or graduate schools if that's where you decide to go. It's absolutely routine for our undergraduate majors to conduct original research in a variety of different research labs. I'll detail that further on in the talk. And by your involvement in these, especially research opportunities, you'll be making contacts with faculty and researchers who will be able to provide strong references for you as you apply to professional schools or graduate schools. Take it away, Rich.
Okay, so what we're going to do in the next sequence of the talk is go over some of the common course requirements for the various biological sciences majors. So these are things that are in common between biology, systems biology, biochemistry, and nutrition. There are specific differences that we'll go through when we get to the individual majors, but overall it's pretty helpful to, maybe reassuring if you're worried about which major to pick, that for all of them, they have in common the requirement of 2 or 3 semesters of biology, most of them with laboratories, requirement of 4 semesters of chemistry with labs, and that's 2 semesters of inorganic, 2 semesters of organic, 2 semesters of physics with laboratories, and 2 semesters of mathematics. And again, because of the commonality among all of the biological sciences curricula, you can pretty much wait until the spring of your sophomore year to finally commit to which major you want. So you can start out not knowing whether you want to do biochemistry or biology, but the coursework is the same for the first 2 or 3 semesters. So finally, by the spring of your sophomore year, you're ready to declare a major. And that's important because the university, undergraduate studies, has a rule now that if you have not declared a major by the end of your sophomore year, you're not allowed to register for classes for the next year. So pretty much everyone on campus has to have figured out what they're going to major in by the end of their sophomore year. Now, many of the degrees come in both a BA and a BS flavor, and we get a lot of questions about what the difference between the BA and the BS is. So in general, the BA degrees are less specialized. They have fewer specific requirements. They allow more flexibility in your schedule, which is why, if you, or at least in the Department of Biology for advising, we recommend BA degrees for our pre-professional students, for students with multiple majors, for students who are varsity athletes, students who are trying to get everything lined up to do a semester of study abroad, if someone has to work a significant amount of time on campus in a campus job, or if you're very active in some extracurricular activity, campus government, Greek life, that takes a lot of time. The BA degrees are easier to complete while squeezing in extra things. The BS degrees are more quantitative. They have more specific course requirements, usually have more credit hours, and they require undergraduate research. Now the BA, because it's flexible, will let you do everything that the BS requires. So it's still possible to do undergraduate research with a BA degree in biology. But if you do the BS in biology, for instance, you are required to do undergraduate research. Now, if you can't make up your mind whether you want to do the BA or the BS, you have to pretty much start with the BS curriculum because it's the more specific and the more fiddly curriculum. If you decide to fall back later to the BA, everything that you did extra or maybe at a harder level like engineering calculus or engineering physics will fall back to the Bachelor of Arts degree level, but the feed forward does not work. So if you start in the BA in biochemistry, for instance, you can't go to the BS because you will have taken the wrong versions of physics and the wrong versions of calculus. So if you can't make up your mind, you need to start with the harder curriculum, and later, once you are sure you don't want to do the BS curriculum anymore, fall back to the BA. So here, just as a list of classes and credits, is what the fall semester of the Common Biological Sciences course curriculum would look like for both BA and BS. So all students at the university will be doing a 4-credit SAGES first seminar. You have to take a calculus course. It will either be the engineering calculus, calculus for science and engineering if you're doing a BS degree, or the arts and sciences Math 125 version if you're doing a BA. You'll have to do the first semester of inorganic chemistry. That can either be the ordinary principles of chemistry, Chem 105, or if you're still on the fence about doing engineering or not engineering, you can also do the engineering chemistry, Chem 111, principle of chemistry for engineers. You'll have to take the first core course in the 3-course biology core curriculum. That's Bio 214, and usually the associated laboratory with that. And then if you have time, a phys ed activity, or if you're a varsity athlete, whatever your fall varsity sport is. You're not required to do phys ed right away, but in general we recommend trying to do it sooner rather than later, though there is an argument to be made for waiting until you're an upperclassman so that you have first dibs on registration for some of the phys ed courses that have a higher demand, like badminton or tennis. Those seem to fill up very quickly. But see, regardless of what biological science you want to do, this is the kind of thing you're going to be doing in your fall semester. And the various exceptions for this will be detailed in subsequent slides. So if we expand it to an entire year, the second semester, the spring semester, is pretty much the follow-ups of the first courses that you took in the fall. So you'll take a SAGES University seminar, the first of 2, the second semester calculus course, whether it's the engineering one or the arts and sciences one, the second semester chemistry course, either principles of chemistry or the chemistry of materials in the engineering chemistry sequence, and your inorganic chemistry laboratory, Chem 113. The second course in the biology course sequence, and usually with its associated lab, so cells and proteins lab, and then another phys ed activity. And all of these common sequences are conservative schedules. They have 15 or 16 credits in a given semester, so it's not an overload. It's equivalent to 5 3-credit courses. You always want to start slow. You don't want to take overloads or try to jump too far ahead right away. You want to make sure that you give yourself some time to get settled into university life. So it's always better to take fewer things at the start and then add them in later as you find that you have time, rather than overload right away and find yourself overcommitted and having to deal with that. So now what we'll do is go through the different biological science departments in more detail, and we'll start with biology and systems biology. So the biology BA and BS degrees in the fall semester have your SAGE's first seminar, the appropriate math course in the sequence. Neither the biology BA nor the BS require engineering calculus, so if you want to take it, you can, but the minimum requirement is the arts and sciences sequence, Math 125, 126. You take first semester chemistry, the first of the 3 biology core lectures, Bio 214, Genes, Evolution, and Ecology, with its associated lab, and then phys ed. Okay, so that's 14 or 15 credits, depending upon which math course you take, actually. So if your math diagnostic does not allow you to start in the first semester of chemistry, then you take Math 120 kind of as a way to get up to speed to handle calculus. But 15 credits in your fall semester is what you're looking at as a freshman BA or BS major. If we spread it out to the entire year, again, in the spring, the university seminar, the next math course, the next chemistry course with the inorganic chemistry lab, the next biology course, cells and proteins, with the lab and phys ed. And again, that's only 15 or 16 credits. So pretty simple schedule. For systems biology in the BS, historically it was a bit different from the regular BA and BS, but for the incoming classes now, the first year is very similar for systems biology. The differences don't come until the second and third years. So for systems biology BS, again, your first seminar, your appropriate math sequence, but for systems biology it needs to be the engineering math sequence, and it's a 4-semester sequence of math that's required for systems biology. 2 of calculus, well, basically 4 semesters of calculus, Calc 1, 2, 3, and then differential equations is Math 224 at the end. You take first semester chemistry with the lab in the fall. That's for scheduling reasons. The first biology core course, but without the lab. Systems biology being a more quantitative mathematical sort of modeling approach to biology, does not have wet laboratory requirements for the biology core curriculum. And then your phys ed course. And in the second semester, the university seminar, second semester chemistry, a space for an open elective. So that could be any course you're interested in. It could be something to satisfy a general education requirement. It could be a course in a second major if you're thinking about a second major. The second biology core course, again without the lab, and phys ed. So systems biology, again like the BA and BS in biology, is 15 or 16 credits in the first year. Now you might be wondering, what is systems biology and why would I do it compared to the ordinary BA or BS in biology? Well, about 10 years ago, faculty in the department realized that there were many problems in modern biology that you really need to have math and computational skills in order to solve those problems. So modeling of ecosystems or figuring out evolutionary relationships if all you have are terabytes of DNA sequences, and there are some other examples as well. And a traditional biologist who comes from a zoology or naturalist background, they usually don't have those kinds of computational skills. And people who do have those skills, your traditional applied mathematician or computer scientist, they're not usually aware that there are biological systems that the things that they learn in their discipline can be used to study. There are interesting problems in biology rather than interesting problems in engineering or some other field of mathematics or computer science. So systems biology is to try to get people who otherwise would be doing applied math or computer science to play in a biology sandbox, as it were, to say, here is a set of problems that biology is really interested in, but most of our people don't usually have the ways to solve the problems. We can articulate the problems, but we don't have the skill set necessary to solve them. So someone who has those skills, if we can show them the problems and show them enough biology to be able to get around, then they can explore meaningfully the intersection of mathematics and biology and synergistically feed back to our more ordinary traditional biologists to work together. So whereas a bench scientist in the BA and the BS will be that will be a bench scientist, someone at the bench running gels, doing stuff in tissue culture, out in the field, making observations. The systems biology person is going to usually take data that came from somebody else and sit down at a computer or at a desk and start deriving equations or expressing mathematical relationships among these things. So it's really an academic discipline. The person who's a systems biologist is probably going to go on to graduate school into a PhD program. And so if you are not comfortable with math or computers or a quantitative approach to biology, then very definitely systems biology is not for you. So whereas in a given year, the biology department graduates 100 majors, 75 of them will have the BA, about 20 will have the BS, and 1 or 2 or 3 may be systems biology. So it's a very small subset of students, but it's a very useful curriculum for many modern approaches to biology. So now let's consider the Department of Biochemistry, which, as Dr. Willis said, is housed in the School of Medicine. So biochemistry has a BA and a BS, and this should look very similar to the slides that you've seen previously for the fall semester of biology and systems biology. You have a first seminar, you have an appropriate math course that's either the 125, 126 sequence for the BA or the engineering 4-semester sequence for the BS, so that's 3 semesters of calculus and differential equations. You can either explicitly do principles of chemistry or the principles of chemistry for engineers. You take the first biology core course with its laboratory and then phys ed. So again, you're looking at 14 to 16 credits in the fall semester. If we go to the full first year, again, university seminar in the spring, the next course in the math sequence, the next chemistry course, either ordinary or for engineers, the next course in the biology sequence with its lab, and the freshman chem lab, inorganic chemistry lab, Chem 113. For biochemistry, because of the way their second and third years work, you can't wait too long to do your university seminar. I mean, there is some flexibility usually across the various majors in the university about when you take your university seminars and when they're finished out. But it's probably best to get them out of the way sooner rather than later, or you'll run into course conflicts, especially in biochemistry, which has some specific courses required by majors that are only offered during a particular semester. So if you miss it during that semester, then you're kind of out of luck until the next cycle of it coming along. So if you're interested in biochemistry, you should definitely talk to one of the biochemistry advisors about what your second, third, and fourth years are going to look like. Now, the Department of Nutrition, which is also in the School of Medicine, has 2 different concentration areas. So there are 2 flavors of nutrition that you can get a degree in. You can either study human nutrition, or there is nutritional biochemistry and metabolism. So that kind of sits between ordinary nutrition and ordinary biochemistry. Additionally, you can participate in the didactic program in dietetics, or the DPD program, which is a specific sequence of courses that will allow you at the end to take the exam to become a licensed dietitian. So for human nutrition, the BA and the BS, this one has its own sort of foundation core course, Nutrition 201, General Nutrition, that you take right away. You have your first seminar, you have your first semester of chemistry. You can either take nutrition or the inorganic chemistry lab. That's required only for the BS students in human nutrition. You take the first core course in biology, but not its lab. And then there's a space to take either an open elective or something to fill one of the SAGE's curriculum requirements. So an arts and humanities elective, global and cultural diversity, natural mathematical sciences, or a social sciences course, or something in a second major if that's what you're interested in. So there's quite a range in credits here between 12 and 17, depending upon whether you fill line 5 in that schedule with a course or not. You probably should fill it with something because 12 is the bare minimum to be a full-time student, and you probably should take a little bit more than just the bare minimum at the very start unless there's some pressing reason otherwise. In the second semester, again, we take our university seminar, second semester chemistry, either the chem lab if you're a BS or nutrition 201 if you didn't take it in the fall, and then there are 2 open slots for open electives or things to satisfy SAGE's core requirements. So human nutrition is a fairly easy degree to have a second major in. There are more specific courses that you take for nutrition in the second and third years, but you can see there's a bit more flexibility and open slots in this first year even in human nutrition than there are in any of the other biological sciences that we have discussed. Nutritional biochemistry and metabolism also has a BA and a BS, and like the other BA versus BSs that we've seen, the BA version requires a 125-126 math sequence. The BS requires the engineering sequence. You'll have your first seminar, you'll have your first semester of chemistry. Again, the choice between taking nutrition or freshman chem lab in the fall, and the first course in the biology core curriculum, but again without a laboratory. In the spring semester, university seminar, next math course, next chemistry course, nutrition or freshman chem lab if you didn't take nutrition in the fall, and the second of the 3 core courses in biology. And so now I'd like to throw this back to my colleague, Dr. Willis, to talk about undergraduate research opportunities in the biological sciences.
All right, you guys. So this is something that's particularly important to me. My own experience as an undergraduate researcher actually helped me realize and decide that not only was I a biologist, but I really wanted to spend the rest of my life designing experiments and learning new things about the biological systems that I'm interested in. So I'm particularly committed to making sure that you all have these opportunities if you want them. So the Department of Biology is, of course, embedded in the university. There are research opportunities in all of the departments that Rich and I have been talking about so far today: biology, biochemistry, and nutrition. For those of you who are interested explicitly in sort of the crossover area of biology and engineering, more direct application of biology, there's opportunities in the School of Engineering, the Biomedical Engineering Department. There are a variety of research labs in the professional schools, which are literally just across the street from our department, the medical school, the dental school, and the nursing school. We are embedded in a complex of hospitals. Medicine is like a major industry in Cleveland. University Hospitals is right across the street. Our medical school is sort of embedded in it. The Cleveland Clinic is literally a 15-minute walk down the street to the main campus of the Cleveland Clinic, which has a major research focus. There's a Veterans Administration hospital, another 15 or 20-minute walk in another direction. The Institute of Pathology is across the street. So those of you who think that you're interested in biomedical research, there's a wide variety of research experiences available to you, everything from Alzheimer's disease to visual research to cancer drug discovery. Those of you who think you may have a broader interest in biology, there are a variety of labs in the biology department, and I'll talk about those in a second. But we also have adjunct professors and affiliates in the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, which amazingly is another 15-minute walk in a different direction. The Holden Arboretum is out on the edge of town. The Cleveland Metroparks Zoo, we are super lucky to have one of the few zoos in the United States that has a research arm that's actively conducting biological research at the zoo. And the research group at the zoo are adjunct professors in our department. And it's absolutely routine for our undergraduates who are interested in organism-level biology to be working there. In addition, the university has a field station at Squire Valley View Farm that's about 10 miles east of here, where many of the ecology faculty in our department have their research plots. So if you're interested in ecology, if you're interested in biomedical, a variety of biomedical applications, there's a huge, everything from soup to nuts you can do research on if it has to do with biology at Case Western Reserve University. So to detail a little bit the areas of research going on in our department, there a group of us who are studying behavior and how nervous systems generate and control behavior. So all of us in the biology department are working on invertebrate systems, insects and sea slugs. But like I said a couple minutes ago, if animals with big brown eyes and fur are what you're attracted to, there are opportunities available at the Metroparks Zoo. There's a number of labs in our department that are studying plant ecology, community ecology, and the genetics of plants as well. So everything from gene level of organization of plants all the way up to community level organization is available in the department. There's a strong and historical commitment to stem cell biology. There's at least 2 or 3 really important labs in our department who are studying development and control of stem cells. One of these is studying parasitology and cracking the genome of some of really important parasitic worms that are actually number 2 behind malaria in human disease on our planet. There's also, as you might have guessed from Rich's discussion of the systems biology major, there's a substantial commitment to quantitative biology and mathematical applications to biology in our department. And we actually have a couple of really important theoretical ecology labs in our department. So if your interests are in math but in biology, there's research opportunities for you to express yourself in this way. There are also a couple of really cool labs that are studying evolution and ecological adaptation of organisms in their environment. These labs are both herp labs. So if you're a total herp head and like amphibians and reptiles, there's places for you to express that interest. And recently we've added new faculty members who are studying how animals respond to global change. So this is obviously, I'm sure you understand, is a really topical area. So when you look across the research areas available in the biology department, you can address any level of biological organization that you're interested in, from molecules all the way up to the global ecosystem. And in biochemistry and nutrition, if you're more interested in sort of molecular approaches and more applied approaches to biological sciences, there are labs studying the structure and function of proteins and enzymes. how gene expression is regulated, basic cell biology, and the regulation of metabolism. So clearly these have obvious applications in disease and healthcare, dietary effects on health and disease, and food safety. So now I'm going to hand the discussion back to Dr. Druschel, who will go over some sort of common basic questions that you may have when you arrive.
So these are things that students ask us all the time. These are questions that you may have asked if you visited the university and went on any of the department tours, or you might have forgotten to ask them and forgotten to ask somebody what the answers are. Well, now here's the place to get the answers to those questions. Our probably number one question is, what kind of AP credit can I get in biology? Many students take AP courses in high school, and many of the students who come to the university do really well, and some students may have placed out of more than one semester's worth of credits, which is very helpful if you are trying to cram in a second major or clear time to do study abroad, or just want to graduate early and save some tuition dollars. Well, here's what biology does for AP credit. If you got a score of 4 on the AP Bio exam, we will give you 3 credits of Biology 114, Principles of Biology. These credits will count towards the graduation total that you need, 120 to 122 credits. It's variable depending on your degree. But unfortunately, because it's a 100 level class, it will not satisfy any biology major or minor requirements. Because Bio 114 is our non-majors course, and it's our introduction to basic biology for students in the Bachelor of Science of Nursing program at the School of Nursing here. So you get 3 credits towards graduation, but it won't get you anywhere towards a biology major or a minor. If you got a score of 5, we'll give you 3 credits of generic 200 level biology transfer credit. That's what Bio 200 TR means in the slide. So what that means is that if you have a biology major or minor that has a slot for open electives in BIOL, you can use those 3 credits to satisfy that open elective requirement for the major or minor. But it will not replace any of the biology core courses or labs. That was not true in the past, but currently you will only get generic transfer credit for a score of 5 on the AP Bio exam. So that means that all biology majors must take Bio 214, Bio 215, and Bio 216, our 3 courses in the biology core sequence. So 214 is genes, evolution, and ecology, 215 is cells and proteins, and 216 is development and physiology. The reason we made this change some years ago was that we found that students, even if you got a 5 on the AP exam, your actual high school preparation was really variable compared to what you would be expected to do in the 2nd or 3rd of the core courses here as an undergraduate. So if we let you out of the 1st course and dropped you into the 2nd, some students would do okay, but in general, analysis showed that students did worse than their peers if they dropped straight into the 2nd of the 3 core courses, which in my advising experience is actually the hardest of the 3 that we offer. So rather than disadvantage those students, we decided we'll reward you for your high performance on the AP exam. We'll give you credit towards your major, but to make sure that all of our majors are socialized in the same way in the core curriculum, everybody has to take the 3 core courses. And this is especially true since in a recent redesign of the curriculum, there is a much tighter integration between the courses. They introduce common problems that are dealt with at each of the levels in the core courses throughout. So take, for example, malaria. There are genetic implications of malaria that you can cover in the 1st course, and then what malaria has as its effect, why it is so bad, how it deforms deforms red cells. Those are things that we can study in 215. And then the effects on all of your physiology as an organism. We can consider those in 216. And there are other examples. So we tried to tie the core courses better together by using some common problems throughout and then solving aspects of those problems at appropriate levels. So a student who drops into the middle of the sequence is not given the introduction to those problems, and it can cause difficulties for students. So we'll give you credit for the score 5, but we won't let you out of the core curriculum. You have to take all 3 of the courses. Another common question, and this is often one that's right off the bat, someone on the biology lab tour will say, well, why should I study biological science? What about biomedical engineering? What's the difference between biomedical engineering and biology or biochemistry or systems biology? Well, I am not a trained engineer, though I did teach 19 semesters of Lego robotics and have picked up a lot of practical skills as an engineer. So I will say this, as a practical person, not as a degreed engineer. But in my view, the sciences are about observing the natural world and trying to design and conduct experiments to figure out how that natural world works. There may be a reason you want to know this, or it may actually just be in a vacuum because you're interested and you want to find out how stuff works. Engineering, however, is about designing and building and testing physical devices that ideally you want to do useful work in the real world. And to do this, you need strong mathematics and computer and often a lot of basic shop skills. You kind of need to be a tinkerer or experimenter, that sort of thing. Now both engineering and the sciences are synergistic. They can work together. A biomedical engineer needs to know something about how biological systems work before you can start designing a new hip joint or a new biopolymer or a new replacement valve for a heart. You have to know something about how all of those things work. And in the sciences, clearly if you're going to be doing bench science, you're going to be manipulating laboratory instruments and having to analyze data and do some quantitative analysis. But in those cases, the sciences and engineering are coming at common problems from different directions. But if you aren't sure whether you want to do engineering or not, that's really one of the fundamental decisions that you have to make by the end of drop ad in the fall semester of your freshman year. Do I want to be an engineer or not? Because that's a branch point in the curricula. They diverge widely. And so if you start down the wrong path and want to switch over, it can be hard. It's pretty much impossible without repeating semesters or even a year. If you start down the sciences path, take the lower level engineering or lower level math and physics courses, and then decide that you want to switch to engineering, engineering will make you repeat them because you didn't take the engineering versions of them. Whereas if you start down the engineering path and take the engineering versions of math and physics and maybe even computer programming, and then subsequently decide that you want to switch back to the sciences, we're a bit more generous. We will usually take those things over. So it's an easier transition to go from engineering to sciences than from sciences to engineering. The upshot of this is if you honestly don't know whether you want to be a BME or a biologist or a biochemist, you have to start in the BME curriculum. You have to start in the engineering core and continue in it until such time as you are sure that you do not want to do engineering anymore. At that point, we'll take you over and we'll transfer your chemistry and your math and your physics over. But if at the end of your freshman year as a putative BA biology student, you decide you want to do biomedical engineering, you're going to have to make up all of the courses at the higher level because they won't take them over. You may also have heard about a relatively new major on campus called chemical biology. It will be given in detail in one of the other webinars. I believe the one on the natural sciences has the chemistry department in it, math, chemistry, and physics. But chemical biology is also one of these things that, it has biology in it, like systems biology. So what exactly does that mean? Where does chemical biology fit in? Well, on this slide, I've taken a description modified from some advising materials that actually came from the chemistry department and after conversations with some of my colleagues over there. So where chemical biology fits in to the rest of the biological sciences, it's best to think of these as all some kind of a continuum. So I've listed them in order, and the continuum is kind of from the entire universe narrowing down, narrowing down, narrowing down until you get to the lowest levels of how things actually work in the world. So kind of the broadest part of the chain of being is biology, because if you're a biologist, you can study ecosystems and organisms. Cell and molecular biology is in here, and classical genetics is in here. But once you start to get inside the cell and want to know how individual cells work, that's kind of getting down into biochemistry, the next level down. So metabolism, metabolic pathways, enzymology, how do enzymes catalyze chemical reactions, immunology, how does our immune system work? There's an enormous molecular basis to that. And modern studies of genomics and proteomics, those are all more biochemistry type things. Chemical biology is kind of the next level down. It sits at the interface between biochemistry and chemistry. So we're in the molecular level, definitely, but we're more on the chemist side of it. So we're thinking about how can we commercially biosynthesize natural products that are of interest. So that's how to devise an efficient way to synthesize some new drug that you want, or if it's a drug that's actually a product, a natural occurring product, can you set up a vat of E. coli that are appropriately transfected with the right genes to crank out large quantities of whatever this molecule is that you want, and then how can you separate it from the rest of the reaction mix and purify it and make it into a form that's deliverable. The study of biomaterials, building little biomachines, studying, at the molecular level how, forces are transduced, how things change length, how we pump ions from one side of a membrane to another. We're starting to know enough about this stuff that we can think about designing it to do useful work for us, kind of in an engineering sense. Well, that's where chemical biology is. So you need to know biology, but you also are going to spend a significant amount of time with traditional chemistry topics, and that's the next level down. So your classic inorganic and organic chemistry, physical chemistry, analytical chemistry, all of those things will help you do a biological spin on chemistry. So if you're interested in biology but are really kind of interested in the chemical aspects, the chemistry aspects of it, if you find that you really loved inorganic chem lab and after 2 semesters of OChem lab you just loved it, chemical biology might actually be the right place for you to be. And then at the lowest level, of course, is physics, where we study what I guess you could call our fundamental quantitatively expressed natural laws, laws of thermodynamics, electromagnetism, properties of atoms, and quantum mechanics. So that's a whole continuum of, I guess, of the natural sciences. And maybe this little slide will help you to place yourself based on what your own interests are. If you are trying to decide between biology and biochemistry, there's some useful information there for you as well. And so, as we come to the end of our presentation, for further information, there are a variety of people that you can contact directly to learn more about the specific biological sciences. So in biology, our undergraduate coordinator is Ms. Katie Bingman, so her email is given here. In biochemistry, you should talk to Dr. David Samuels. In the Department of Nutrition, if you're interested in the didactic program in dietetics, you should talk to Dr. James Swain. And if you have interest in nutritional biochemistry and metabolism, you can talk to Ms. Mary Beth Kavanaugh. She's an instructor over there like me. And if there are other departments, look at your first-year registration guide. There's usually a page at the back that will list by department who the academic contacts are. And so I guess I'll pass this back to Mark.
Okay, so that's the basics. Of course, if you want to avail yourself of more information, go to the biology department's website. Rich and my contact information is there. You should feel free to email us if you have additional questions brought up by the presentation that you've just heard. And other than that, we look forward to seeing you in the fall. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.